Hi friends, welcome to my video today, making the most of your framelits. Today we're going to learn how to make the shaker card. It was a lot of fun. And we're going to begin with the Hearts Collections framelits. This is a series of, I'm not sure how this video camera is working, so bear with me. We have 5 different shapes for the framelits, and we're going to use number 4 and number 3 for the card today. And you need, before you begin, you need to set up your supplies. You need some pattern paper. I picked 2 designs, this one and this one for my card. You need white cardstock. You need the Hearts framelits. You need to have glue and embossing buddy. And you also are going to need a piece of window sheet or acetate. For acetate, I'm a teacher. I always have overhead transparency still. They're found at Office Max, and this is what I have tended to use because it's on hand. Anyway, I think you're going to find this is a fun way to make a shaker card. Usually they're made with pieces of foam dots that you put around that are just the right size to go around a circle of your card. Today we're using something different. It's a foam sheet. It's only maybe less than 1/8 of an inch thick. I got mine for 33 cents at Walmart. But this is what you're going to use to make the shape to lift your papers and separate them for the confetti. So to begin, I'm going to use the framelit. I'm going to start with the larger of the 2. And of course you'll need your big shot. And you will want to roll through your big shot. The first thing you want to do is cut out, and I've already done the pieces. You're going to cut out this large pattern. This is going to be your background of the card. And next you'll want to cut a piece of white cardstock and your piece of acetate using the large heart also. Of course you put the framelit cut side down. I prefer to cut the acetate with the cardstock. It gives a much crisper edge. So once you have those pieces gathered, it's time to work on the frame. And what I've done is I've taken the foam board and layered it in. My multi-purpose flat form is flat, nothing's open. And what you're going to do is you're going to layer one framelit inside the other framelit. I hope you can see that. I'm checking. Okay. And you're going to have to line them up in such a way that you're going to have an equidistance between, especially down at the bottom here where the border is much lower. They're much closer to each other. So you don't want to have it askew so one side would be lopsided. So first I put the smaller one down, cut side down. What I love about the framelits that we sell from Stampin Up is that our curve is right on the inside, so you can see exactly where that cut line is going to be. Okay, so as you can see, I'm lining them up at the top, and I'm going to kind of make sure they're even at the bottom. Definitely not. Still not. And this might be the part you have to be most careful about for the whole card. Okay, I like the way that's lined up. So I have some Post-it notes. They just happen to be heart-shaped. Isn't that handy? And you can use these over and over again to hold your framelits down. That's what I like to do. And even as I'm putting them down again now, I have to adjust just a tad. Okay. All right, so I have them between now. Let's try to remember the plates. 2 clear plates. Better check the alignment again. Still looks okay. And what I'm going to do is cut them. Now, I would never want you to force anything in your big shot, so I'm going to say that little bit of disclaimer, but I don't have any problem running this through my big shot, and since I'm left-handed, I like to do it my side this way. Okay, so there we go. All right, move that to the side, and you can see that now we have the foam pieces that we're going to need for the card. This one in the middle you can take out and use for something else. You'll also have a piece of your pattern paper that matches it should you want to use those together. And carefully remove your framelits make sure I always put my framelits right out of my hand back into my storage place because they're too easy to set down and misplace or lose entirely. Ask me how I know. Okay, so now you can see we've made just a border of the hearts, and this is going to be our thickness that will go in between our pieces of cardstock and raise that acetate window up so that we can have a shaker card. All right, from now on it's easy. Just need to take a little glue, and I'm using the Tombow Multi, and you know, just to squeeze a little bit of that out once it gets going. I'm just going to put a few dots around the edges. And I have two. You're going to need two of these to make the shaker card that I have for you. Now I want to mention that this foam is sold in a much thicker size, but it does not go through the Big Shot, and your framelits do not cut it. So I would warn you against using anything thicker than this. Okay, once I have that glue on there, I'm going to spread it around with my finger. I don't want any of this glue going inside the heart shape where the confetti was going to be, because it will stop it from, it'll get stuck in there. And then it won't shake the way it's supposed to. The fun of shaker cards is playing with them. And the fun of Tombow glue is getting it off your fingers. Okay, now lining them up is a trick, but mostly you want to make sure that the inside pieces are meshing perfectly. So I'm going to go around and press that and make sure it's even with my finger. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing there, but I'm lining up the insides together and making sure that they are forming a thickness. One thing I've discovered with the heart shape is this foam will stretch a little. Okay, so you need to just line them up. Do you see how it's a little misaligned right up here? It won't matter so much at the top, but if it's not lined up flush on the inside, it will make a difference in how your shaker works. So I'm going to line the two up and let that dry. And by the power of video, I have one already. So these are the two, and they've dried together. And the simple thing to do after that is you're going to do the same thing with your piece of designer paper that I just did. Using the Big Shot and using the two framelit pieces, you're going to cut out a shape that is like this yellow one. Now you'll notice that I have taken glue, same way I glued them together. I just smeared glue on the top. I put the piece of acetate on it. Okay, and I glued that together, and then I put the liner, the yellow pattern, on top of that. So I have a bottom of my card and I have a top. And now it's time to put them together. Okay, I'm going to mostly add the white as a backing to give it a little more, just a little more stiffness. Again, I'm using the Tombow and I'm lining them up. Okay, now as for decorating, well, let me start backwards. When you get to decorating, you have to plan what you're going to put inside your shaker card in terms of confetti. So the perfect thing to me to go with flowers and yellow, the small yellow dots that are in this pattern paper, were yellow circles and melon mambo flowers. So I put them, that's what I'm choosing to put inside my shaker card. So I used the Owl Punch and the Itty Bitty Punch Pack for those. You can see I have even some small ones from the Owl Punch. I think our metallic foil papers would look beautiful. Our glimmer papers look nice. If you're going to use glimmers like stars shapes, you would need to glue two back to back so that you have the silver glitter on each side. Alright, you can see now I've placed my glitter in there. Now here's the key step. You have to wait till this is good and dry, and mine has dried already. You notice I put the border on top already. So I have layer 1 of the foam, layer 2 of the foam. On top of that is the acetate, and on top of that is the pattern paper. This is a key step. and was surprising to me, but I'm going to go with the embossing buddy. First of all, it was important to make sure there were smooth edges and no glue in there. And then the next thing is to use your embossing buddy just to make sure there aren't any places that your confetti can find to cling. And the last thing I will do is with the confetti there, I will go ahead and glue this on top. And again, this is when you want to be careful only to use a certain amount of glue, or you will find it coming inside and sticking your confetti pieces down, which is not the purpose of what we want it to do right now. You might hear something. That's my Josie yapping in the background. She's having to be in her crate while I do this. She's not a happy camper. Okay, so I have the glue, and I'm going to carefully adhere this to the bottom and line it up. And you can see how I'm trying to keep away from the glued part, but you can see how that confetti will move and shake in there. And then my last trick for decorating this card, you may decorate yours however you like, but I used the Kind and Cozy stamp set from Stampin' Up, and it has this wonderful sentiment, thinking of you. I love combining thinking of you and with love, but this time I just used the thinking of you, and I stamped it in Island Indigo ink. I've adhered some, well, partially adhered, some flowers made with our clay molds. And I'm going to just glue this on in place across my card. You might notice in the previous card that I did, I stamped the sentiment inside. But the fun of getting to do a video is you get to remake it and redo the parts that you think will work better another way. I always have grid paper handy, and it's great for lining up things like this sentiment. I want to place it rather low on the card, but I am using that grid paper to line it up. So there you have it, my shaker card with Kind and Cozy stamp set. Hope you've enjoyed today's video. Please stop back or check out my blog, stampspaperinink.com. Thank you.